This happened about 4 years ago when I was 16 and a few weeks away from the beginning of my senior year of high school. My mom and I were taking a trip out to New Jersey to visit my aunt who we hadn't seen in a relatively long time. We arrived early in the afternoon and we had a great time. It was great catching up with my aunt and nothing out of the ordinary happened during our visit. It was around 9 o'clock at night by the time we left my aunt's house and took about 20 minutes for us to hop onto the turnpike. About half an hour into our drive, my mom noticed that we only had a quarter tank full of gas left and decided to stop at the nearest gas station to fill up. We asked the attendant to fill up our tank with $20 worth of gas, and while he was pumping the gas, I asked my mom if I could grab a bottle of water from the store real quick. She said that was fine and handed me a few dollars. She asked me if I could grab her a pack of gum as well while I was in the store, and told me she'd pull into the parking lot on the left side of the store once the attendant was finished pumping the gas. I walked into the store, grabbed everything I needed, and waited in line to be checked out. The line was a little long, so it took about 5 minutes until I paid for everything and walked out of the store. I turned right and began walking towards the car when I noticed a man standing next to my mom's window, talking to her, and all of a sudden I hear my mom yell at him, "Get the fuck away from me, you sick bastard!" I ran up to the man, got in his face, and yelled, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" The man was probably in his late 30s. He was wearing a Yankees t-shirt and black shorts. He had very dark brown eyes, jet black hair, and a pretty disheveled mustache to top it all off. He was also very sickly looking and looked a bit thinner than he should have been for his height, which was probably around 5'7", and he looked to be about 130 pounds. He began freaking out, apologizing profusely and saying that it was all a misunderstanding and that he deserved a second chance. I screamed, "Get the fuck out of here before I smash your face into the concrete." He ran off and got into his black car that was parked on the other side of the lot and drove off. I got into the car and asked my mom what had happened while I was in the store. She said that the man walked up to her and asked for directions to Jersey City. She answered his question to the best of her abilities, which he thanked her for, smiled, and then said,
"You're very beautiful, you know that?"
My mom had creeps try to hit on her before, and she had a feeling that this guy was a creep right from the get-go. So she thanked him for the compliment and showed him the wedding ring on her finger and said that she was already taken, hoping it would deter him, as it usually worked in the past. He then started rambling on about how she's in an abusive marriage and he can tell by the look on her face, and that if she just gave him a chance, he could treat her right. He followed that up with saying disgusting things about what he wanted to do to her if they had sex. My mom screamed at him to get away from her, and then, on cue, I walked out of the store and started scaring him off. We drove out of the gas station and eventually put what happened into the back of our minds. About half an hour into our drive, I looked into the side mirror and noticed a car following behind us. The highway was pretty well lit, so I recognized that it was the car that belonged to the man that we had encountered earlier. I tell my mom about it, and she says that she noticed the car following us for about the past 10 minutes. She said that she was going to get off at the next stop and try to lose him. We got off at that next stop and quickly began making numerous turns down the side blocks and also sped down them to try and lose the creep following us. He followed us without fail for about 5 minutes, till my mom passed an intersection and the man sped up to try and keep up with us. But he was forced to slam on his brakes when the light turned red and cars had already begun to enter the intersection. My mom used this opportunity to speed up and turn down another block. She pulled into a McDonald's parking lot and made sure to park behind the building. She turned the car off and we waited for about 10 minutes just to be sure we had lost the creep. I was pretty anxious at this point, and I knew my mother was too, but she managed to stay pretty well composed despite our current situation. We assumed that we had lost him, and my mom turned the car back on, and we drove towards the block that would let us back onto the highway. We turned onto the road, and it was pretty well lit, but it was relatively empty save for us and the occasional vehicle passing by. Not even a minute later, we see a car speeding up towards us in the distance until we see that it's the very same creep from before. My mom and I were flipping shit at this point, and we just wanted this fucking crazy man to go away. Our luck must have spiked at that point because all of a sudden we see red and blue lights flashing in the distance. and a police siren that was getting louder by the second. The cop must have been hiding somewhere, or was about to turn onto the road when they had seen the creep speeding and proceeded to chase after him. He speeds past us with the cop following him, presumably to try and evade him. Relieved, we turned back onto the highway and continued our drive home. We were both shaken up quite a bit from what had just happened, but we calmed down after a while. We were both just glad to have gotten away from that creepy man and that nothing had happened to either of us. The rest of our drive went by uneventfully, thankfully, and we made it home safe. So creepy man who tried to follow my mother and I home, let's not meet again, or else I will smash your face into the concrete like I had threatened to do earlier. I'm a 19-year-old female. At the time of this story, I lived in the worst part of downtown Portland, right behind the projects. I know I shouldn't have been riding the bus this late at night, but there are some circumstances that just couldn't be helped. One Friday night in April, my boyfriend was hosting his birthday celebration with a big group of friends. I work on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, so I had been a bit annoyed about his choice of timing, but I understood that it was the most convenient for everyone else, so it's all I could do. Since I worked early the next morning, this meant that I had to ride the bus home late at night. The ride home was about 40 minutes. I had never really been bothered much on the bus before, and I always felt comfortable out at odd hours of the night. That night, however, felt very different. Around the same time I started heading home, I got this terrible foreboding feeling. I armed myself with my pocket knife and started the journey home well past 11 p.m. The bus ride began entirely normal, but the feeling never subsided. I was very aware of everything happening around me. Soon, I decided to text my roommate to see if he would be in the area at the time I was due downtown, as he had finished work around then. Soon I got a reply that he had been relieved early from work, but was turning around to wait at my bus stop. I'm still glad I made the decision to text him, as it may have saved my ass. One stop before I was due to get off the bus, this obese guy with green hair and a pit bull gets on the bus. I didn't see him notice me or anything, so I went about minding my own business. The stop at which he got on was only about 2 blocks away from mine. I got to my stop and was greeted by my roommate. However, here's when things get creepy. The guy that had just gotten on the bus gets off at our stop also. As my roommate and I start walking home, this guy starts trying to keep pace with us and gets way too close to me. My roommate and I are fast walking on the edge of a wide sidewalk, so it's very obvious that this guy is trying to get close to me for some reason. My roommate notices this as well, and we fall silent. We manage to outpace him and turn a sharp corner. I look back at the guy to give him a kind of what the fuck look. But at that moment, I noticed that he had stopped where we turned and is now taking pictures of me with the flash on. This is the dead of night on a sidewalk with some crusty office buildings, so there's nothing worth taking pictures of. It scared me that if I had never followed my instincts and contacted my roommate, things might have turned out much worse. Creepy bus guy who took pictures of me, let's never meet again. I have a very stable job, and a very good one at that. But sometimes you just need extra money, right? I'm currently moving into a newer, bigger, and nicer apartment, so I've been putting down payments and using money to move. By no means am I broke, but it's nice to earn some extra cash. I thought of selling some clothes that I never wear. I've already donated a lot of older clothes to the Salvation Army, but for clothes I never wore and that are worth some good cash, I decided to sell over Craigslist and Letgo app. Letgo has never failed me. Craigslist, well, I never tried it before, but my friends had some great experiences. I was trying to sell a very cute, short-sleeved, black and white flower dress for $12. I put my number down so I could just talk to people directly since I don't use my email too often. Side note, I posted a picture of me in that dress that my friend took not showing my face, and with a blank white wall background behind me. I got a text a couple of hours after I posted the dress. Here's how the conversation went. Stranger, hey, I saw your dress on sale. Is it still available? Me, yes it is. Stranger, it's kind of hard to see the dress in the picture that you posted. Do you have any more pictures of that dress? I have sent a picture of the dress in the hanger, one picture close up for detail, one to see the full dress. Stranger, I asked for pictures with it on. I'll just look at the ad tomorrow. I never responded back. It was very alarming to have someone talk to me like that. Why would someone want to see me with the dress on? I guess I understand, but still, it was really weird. 2 days later, I got a weird phone call at 7:05 a.m. By the way, this was on my off day, and I usually kept my ringer on because I'm always on call. To see that it wasn't work and there was an unknown caller, I was pretty pissed, so I let it ring. Then they call again right after. I sighed and cleared my throat to answer. Me? Hello? A raspy, gargled man's voice answered me back.
Yes, hello. Are you the one selling the dress?
Me? I am, yes.
I'm calling for my wife. I have some questions.
In my head, I was like, what? But I go on with it. Stranger.
My name is Mark. Yours?
I give him my name, but he fails many times and almost made me think, am I being prank called? It was pretty frustrating because I told him and spelled my name about 20 different times. We finally get over introductions, and then he gets to his questioning. Mark.
Is this a thick dress?
Me. Yeah, it is. Mark.
Can it be worn as a fancy dinner dress?
Me. It can be. You can dress it casual or be dressed up. Him.
Okay, how tall are you?
Me. I'm 5'3". Mark.
Okay, so my wife's pretty short and around your height. Do you wear a bra with the dress?
Me. I guess she can wear with or without it. Mark continues to push if I've ever worn a bra with the dress. I get quite short in my answers. Mark.
Where are you right now? I feel like I've woken you up.
Me, deciding to lie to cover myself. Yeah, I'm at a friend's house currently. Mark.
A girlfriend's?
Me, just a friend. I'm just not home, okay? Mark.
But did you sleep in the same bed as her?
Me. Can we move on? I'm not home right now. His phone then cut out. He called me back a minute later. Mark.
Sorry, my phone died. So anyways, what size cup are you?
Me. Excuse me, I don't really feel comfortable answering that. Mark.
B or C?
Me, I'm not answering this. Mark.
You look pretty big-breasted. Very gifted. My wife has an ass. Do you?
Me, I don't want to answer that. You're making me feel very uncomfortable. I think I'm just gonna hang up now. Mark.
But does the dress right up your back? When you walk, does it show your ass?
I hung up at that point. He decided to call me over and over, and it's not like I can block his number because the number was just unknown. By the 20th call, I decided to tell him off. Me, listen, I don't feel very... Mark.
You know, I know where you live. I want that dress.
I hung up and started crying. I really didn't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I would understand if a guy wants to dress for his own pleasure, sexual or not, but at least tell me and not act like it's his wife who needs one. Does he even have a wife? If so, why couldn't you just call me yourself? I don't know, I just had so many questions about this. And honestly, I'm legitimately scared, and this number won't stop calling me. I even got an email that's not related to this guy, about a guy named Mr. Anonymous, asking for smelly old flats. Is this normally what happens on Craigslist? Anyways, to the man who keeps calling me about my dress, please, let's never meet.